Hey everybody, my name is Ben Abel. I will be your instructor for English 2201, section 602, I believe, first summer session of 2021. So quickly, a little bit about myself, just so you know who I am. I am currently teaching English writing. I do both 1100 and 2201 here at ECU. My kind of how I got to here was I was an Army kid. I grew up mostly in North Carolina, but I spent about 6 or 7 years in Germany as a young kid, growing up in the mountains in southern Germany, and then lived in El Paso, Texas for 6 months. Moved to Key West. I graduated high school in Key West, Florida, for a couple of years down there. So I've been around, but mostly North Carolina. Fayetteville, Fort Bragg is kind of what I consider my home. And also, but now also Greenville. We've lived here a couple times over the course. I'm married. I got my wife works at the hospital here in Greenville, and we have 4 kids. One's about to ready to graduate. She's going to be going to App State, which we're pretty happy about and proud of her for doing. So that's me. I took a bunch of classes over the course of 19 years, doing night school and stuff because I had a full-time job, and did a lot of online schooling. So I understand the complexities of doing online schooling. It took me about 19 years, like I said, to get my bachelor's degree, and then I went to ECU here and got my master's degree a couple of years ago, 2018, I think, 2019. And I've been teaching on and off at ECU and Pitt Community College ever since. So that's kind of my background. This is what I know. I was in the Army for 5 years, and also I worked for the Army as a public affairs specialist, the media relations guy, basically for about 15 years. So I had a whole kind of career lifetime before I got here to start to teach writing at the university level. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this class. So what is it? The title of this class is Writing About the Disciplines, and so that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be writing about the work. We're going to be exploring your majors, the intended career fields through writing. That's what we're going to be doing. I want to get you a better sense of what the kinds of writing you're going to be doing, but also kind of what I've found over time is that many of you at this point, unless you're seniors and you missed this class for some reason, many of you probably haven't had a lot of your of the classes that make up your the major or that are going to get you towards your intended career field. So this is a helpful class because this is kind of the initial exploration of what is some of the things that you're going to actually have to do as part of the work that you're going to need to do for your major and for the work that you want to do once you graduate. So this class overall, effectively, this is about a 5-week class. I know it says 6 weeks on the calendar or on the schedule, but that last week-ish, a couple days, is really it's kind of more admin stuff, turning in final papers and grades and stuff like that. So really, this is effectively a 5-week class. 5 weeks to teach all the stuff that you're supposed to know. It's a blistering pace, and unfortunately there's going to be some things that you're just not going to be able to do. We can't do. There's just not enough time. But hopefully we're going to give you the core skills. At least you're going to hopefully we're going to take away some of the core skills that you need out of 2201 to be successful as you move into further into your educational career. All right, so you should have taken English 1100 or one of its equivalents at a different school before then. So there are some skills that I'm going to expect that you're going to understand and be able to employ here in this class. Basic outlining, research skills, at least to some degree, at least some familiarity with MLA and APA formatting standards, although I'll do some refresher on that. And rhetorical analysis skills is going to be important. If you don't know how to do rhetorical analysis, I'm going to give you some of the lessons that I give in my 1100 class. I think it's important to do that, these are some of the things that I'm going to expect you to understand how to do. In-text citations, how to incorporate outside evidence into your writing. So these are all things that you should know already. And if you don't, you need to let me know, and we need to get you hooked up and try to figure out how to get you up to speed. I understand there are gaps. I understand that sometimes people are, way too cool for school and kind of just blow off English 1100 and get through it with the pass-fail, especially over the past year or two. But I'm here to tell you that's not going to be a path to success at all, not knowing how to do some of these things. So, all right, so we're going to have 4 major projects, about 1 a week. You're going to have to do, significant paper once a week. And then I'm going to have other activities for you to do over the course of the week. Some of it's going to be watching videos. Some of it's going to be discussion board stuff. Some of it will be what I call class participation activities, and that's going to lead towards, those are all going to be factored into your grades. All right, so the 4 major projects that I'm going to ask you to do. The first one will be a rhetorical analysis, and so what that's going to ask you to do is kind of compare and contrast 2 different, like a professional or academic kind of source, and then also a popular source or a non-academic source that you could use for academic writing. So that's going to require you to do some comparing and contrasting and rhetorical analysis work. The second one is what we call writing in your field, and so what I want you to do is to explore some of the kinds of writing that's done in your intended career field, or the work that's done by people in your major once you graduate. I want you to, kind of tell me that you're going to do kind of a research paper-ish kind of thing, exploration of what kind of writing that you're going to have to do. So I want you to start thinking about what that's going to require. The third major paper is going to be a research proposal. I doubt many of you have done this. A lot of my students have gotten tripped up on this, not understanding. I'm going to do my best to try to explain how this works, but really this is a research proposal is really like a plan for how it's like an exaggerated outline for how you think you're going to do a paper. So what you're trying to do is get permission. Basically, you're saying, hey, this is what I think I want to do. Is this cool? And you're asking somebody in some leadership or oversight role to kind of give you permission or to kind of hook you up with some left and right limits on a research project or some kind of experiment that you want to do. And then the last one is going to be what we call an investigation of a historical artifact. I'm going to talk more about this later. Don't get too wrapped up in it, but just understand that what I'm going to ask you to do is find something in your career field or your intended career field or your major, something that's happened over time that has kind of shifted the way in which people in your career field have thought about the way you do business in your career field, and so I want you to explore some of that, how people wrote about that, and continue to write about that. So, well, again, we'll talk more about that. I know it's probably a little confusing. All right, so the course schedule. There is a PDF document in Canvas that will have kind of the day-to-day, because this is an asynchronous course and it's going to be kind of over the course of each week, things that are going to be due over the course of the week. Some of the assignments will be due on specific days. Some of it you can do when you need to get it done. There will be different discussion boards or activities that I need you to turn in. Papers I think I have all scheduled to be due on Saturdays. So that gives you a little extra time, because Sunday we'll have a discussion board, and I just want to make sure that you guys have a day of not having something due. So let's have that all work due on Saturdays. You can definitely turn in beforehand. It's much better to do that in my mind than to procrastinate. All right, so in the syllabus, a couple of things that I want you to point out. You're going to have to read that. I'm not going to go through it. We would in class if we were together, but we're not, so I'm not going to do that. This is a writing intensive course. That means that you are going to have to write. If you don't want to write, sorry, you're going to have to write to pass this class. If you're going to think you're going to get by with doing half the work, or not meeting the word count, or not doing the assignments that I'm giving you, go ask my students who've tried to do the same thing in the past, and I'm going to tell you they didn't care much for the grade that they got. Your job is to learn how to write. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. The books that we have that I want you to get are the Insider's Guide to Writing and the Insider's Guide to Academic Writing and the Little Seagull Manual. Those are the 2 that I want you to have. I don't want you to waste money or time on anything else. There's too much, there's not enough time to be doing much more than those 2 books. Little Seagull manual is going to be super helpful now and for all of your classes, because you're going to have to use it for writing. If you go through the syllabus, you'll see I have a section on plagiarism. I do not mess around with plagiarism. So if you think that you're going to get by, you're not. All of your major papers are going to have to go through the Turnitin. It's a plagiarism checker. If you think you're going to get by with it, you're not. I've had some really unhappy people, and it makes a lot of work for us, and it makes for a bad day when I catch you. There's no reason for it. There's absolutely no reason to cheat. There's no reason to borrow somebody else's work. If you're already quoting somebody else, just give them credit for it. I mean, you've already done the majority of the work. You just have to give those in-text citations. All right, as for grading, a couple of things. We're on I use a 10-point scale. I tried the 7-point scale, didn't really care for it. 10-point scale is what we're going to use. The grading breakdown is in there in the syllabus. It's basically 10% for the first two papers, I think 15 and 20% for the papers 3 and 4, and then there's your final portfolio. There is the self-analytical letter. There's some class participation activity stuff, and discussion boards, I think, are the ones. And basically everything's 10% except for those third and fourth papers. So it's pretty even. But what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say this about 1,000 times between now and then, I do not use Canvas for grading. Listen up, I do not use Canvas for grading. So please don't come to me at the end of the class and say, I had an A, and then why'd you give me a whatever? It's because I don't use Canvas for grading. So if you, I know you're probably not gonna listen to it. I'm gonna probably tell you 1,000 times between now and then. That's just the way it is. I don't know how to do weighting and stuff in Canvas, so that's why I'm not doing it. I don't use it. All right, so every week, you're gonna have at least one discussion board a week. It'll be due on Sundays. You can do it before then. This is just to get you thinking about your writing and what you're doing, and maybe to give me a little bit of feedback on what you've done over the course of the week, how well you think you've done. I will also have class participation activities. Those will come together to be 10% of your grade, and those are hopefully will be designed to help you kind of kickstart the writing process for that paper that's going to be due that week. All right. I have office hour sessions. I'll do those twice a week, and I'll let you know what they're going to be. I'm probably going to try to do Tuesdays and Thursdays, maybe morning and afternoon or something. So everybody will have an opportunity. If you can't catch one time, then you'll catch another. The other thing that I will say is that I am more than happy to meet with you at any other time. So if you have if you're working or whatever it is, if you need to meet with me, I'll be glad. If you have questions, shoot me an email, send me a note through message through Canvas. I'd be glad to help you. I'm not going to answer emails at 12 o'clock at night. That's not how my body works. I get up early and I go to bed early because I'm old. I will answer you during normal human being hours. Don't send me an email thinking I'm going to respond to you at 2 in the morning. It's not going to happen. All right, so just a little bit of philosophicalness about writing. So when most of my students come in, they come to me and they, I tell them it's gonna be a writing class. They're like, I hate writing. I was never good at English. I hate writing. Writing sucks. I hate writing. Writing sucks. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I understand. But I want you to keep in mind that this isn't a writing class, right? This is a thinking class. The writing is just the outward expression, the actual kind of the physical manifestation of your thinking. Here in the university, I don't know if you've noticed this yet, but we don't really care if you're a great writer. There are AIs out there. There are computer programs that can write pretty well. But the problem is that they can't think. And that's what we're trying to get you to see what you're doing. And that's what writing is. It's seeing how you have manifested in symbolic form the thinking that you've done. So if you think that, and what's going to be absolutely apparent through this class is that this isn't a sit down at the last minute and try to bang it out kind of a paper. These aren't expository essays. This isn't anything that you can do at the last minute. So if you think that you're going to just sit down and do that, it's going to be absolutely painfully obvious to me, and you're not going to like the grade that's going to result from that work. The thing is, you have to actually think in this class. That's what I'm trying to see, trying to kind of get my hands on, is through your writing is your thinking. So it's kind of hard to say that this is a writing class, but I'm not worried about it. Your writing, I am worried about your writing, but more importantly, I'm worried about your thinking, and that's what your writing is going to do, is show me how your thought process works, how your planning process works, how your consideration of the work that you're doing. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm interested in, and what I think the school is interested in as well, is getting you to think. Okay, so that's kind of a quick, really quick breakdown of the class. If you have any questions at all, I am just an email or a text message or a Canvas message away. We're going to probably use, oh yeah, that's right. We're probably going to use Microsoft Teams, so I'm going to probably send you an email that says, hey, download the Teams, Microsoft Teams app. It's just easier for me to do. If we have to do one-on-one calls, I can just call you directly through the app, and then set up video chat times through Microsoft Teams instead of using Zoom. Zoom has a time limit for me. Anyway, I'm glad to have you here. Hope you are ready to learn. Hope you're ready to do some writing. More importantly, I hope you're ready to do some thinking. All right. Take care, and let's get to work.